were in my favor. I had 'em 5-1. And that nag to win came around the track. Sure enough, we had won.
So I rode Wicklow, trained by Mike Rivas. It was a grass race, going long, you know. He always comes from off the pace. So I was kind of concerned because I had been watching the races leading up to his race, and that day, every horse that made the lead on the grass made it home in front. All those horses that were just going wire to wire, you know, it had me a little bit concerned. I also didn't want to take him out of his running style. He's a horse that comes from off the pace. It's kind of a fine line of what you do. Do you send your horse out there a little more? Do you try to lay a little closer? Or do you just let him run his own race? You know, as Wicklow's second start for Mike, he's kind of a horse that you have to encourage going along. If you let him kind of fall back, he'll fall real far back. So it's definitely, you know, helpful going into his second race, knowing that he's a horse that you need to encourage a little bit more early to make sure that he doesn't drop himself completely out of the race. So the gray horse, Johar Irish, trained by Frank Kirby, ridden by the bug boy, Alejandro Contreras. He definitely looked like the horse that I was gonna have to beat. He looked like the horse that would probably make the lead. Well, I was on the 4, Wicklow. The 9, Johar Irish, had broke sharp and was going right to the lead. The 1 kind of was running off. You know, the jock was having a hard time holding him. He kind of ducked out and, you know, bounced off a few horses. You know, when I left the gate on Wicklow, I seen the horse on the inside of him, the 3. He was, you know, wanting to send his horse out there. You know, there was a lot of speed everybody was sending. You know, I had the 1 horse, the 1 on the inside of me that was running off, had to, you know, when he ducked outside to the other horse and, you know, went on, I just stayed sitting on the fence. I was back there looking at the horses up front, going, you know, at a fast pace. Being that the turf course speed was holding all day, I think that might have been a reason why some of the riders decided to let their horses run so much early and had sent their horses to try to make the lead, because all the other jocks had that in their mind that you got to be on the lead to win. I was asking to try to keep him up there so, you know, he wouldn't drop back. He's kind of a lazy horse, and you got to keep kind of asking him to run along as you go. As we were going down the backside, you know, I could see that the horses were getting away on the lead. You know, I knew that there was a fast pace setting up in front of me, but, you know, I wanted to make sure that I had somewhere to go. And, you know, so I started looking for a spot to go, because I didn't want those horses to get too far gone, and, you know, so I wouldn't be able to catch them. And, you know, as we started around the turn, the 9, he was still up there on the lead by himself. So there was kind of a group of horses that was up there. You know, the 2, which I was behind, and also the 6 and the 8. You know, I really wasn't sure where I was gonna go. I needed to follow one of those horses, because there was, you know, a whole nother flight of horses directly in front of me. And I wanted to I didn't want to have to go all the way around those. So I end up, you know, just following the 2. You know, I could tell that the 2 horse, that he had a lot of horse. So he ended up paving the way for me, and I was able to follow him through. He kind of opened up the holes for me. So, you know, when we turned away from home, I was still a good ways off of the lead, but the 9 was kind of getting away while I was back there still looking for somewhere to go. You know, so he was able to save as much horse as he could and not have to ask his horse, because he wasn't getting pressured by anyone until they straightened away. When he did, the 9, Johar Irish had opened up, and, you know, my horse was kind of lugging in a little bit with me, and that's why I had my stick on my left hand to try to encourage him not to lay on those other horses. You know, the 2 kind of had ducked out a little bit in front of me, so I kind of had to reach and grab him. and all along the 9 is up there. He's still pretty far in front of me, and I wasn't sure that I was gonna be able to catch him, but I wanted to make sure that I kept my horse off of the 9 enough to where I was able to get by him. Because sometimes when you run up right next to another horse, those horses see you and feel you coming, and it'll make them fight a little bit harder. So, sometimes when you're closing real hard on a horse that is on the lead like that, you want to try to run by them, maybe a few pass off of them, and not run by them right next to them, because sometimes that'll make them pick their head up and maybe give them a little bit extra, and you might not be able to catch them. There you go. There you go.